Hello everyone, welcome back to Devi Daily Yoga for this full body yin yoga practice. In this session, we are going to work into every one of the major target areas of the body, working with some of the deeper variations of postures. So this will be a more intermediate level practice. However, I will offer variations for those who are at different levels of flexibility or different levels of experience. Now, you will not need any props for this practice. I do have my blanket available because I know that I like to use it for the snail pose, which is going to be part of our session. And if you have props that you know you like to use in general, your blocks or your blankets or your bolster, then go ahead and have them nearby. Go ahead and set up your nest, have a cozy space around you, and we will start our yin yoga practice right now. Let's begin on hands and knees for cat and cow, taking a moment to warm the body up before we move into our longer yin stretches. Place the hands under the shoulders, place the knees under the hips, and come into your back bend, inhaling and lifting the gaze, and exhaling, rounding your spine, tucking your chin and tucking your tailbone. Inhale into the back bend, drop the ribs, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, round the spine, tuck tailbone, tuck chin. Inhale, lengthen the backs of the thighs in your back bend. Exhale and round it once again. And one last time, inhaling, drop ribs, roll shoulders back. Exhale, and this time as you round, send the hips back all the way to the heels in a child's pose. Resting forehead to the earth. Inhale your breath. And exhale, letting go, pouring whatever you don't need into the earth. Inhale once more into your back body. And exhale. And now let's inhale and come up to hands and knees. And we'll start straight away into dragon pose, taking a big step forward with the right leg. Hands on either side of the front foot. And here we are targeting the front of the left thigh and the front of the left hip. You can take your preferred variation of dragon if there's something you like better than this. And as we stretch into this front line of the body on the left side, see what you can sense, what you can feel between the left knee and the left lower ribs. Continuing to breathe into this area, resting the hips, softening into each exhale. And now for the second half of our time in this pose, we'll open it up into dragon twist or dragon tail. So please lift your left or take your right hand onto your knee and walk your right foot out to the side and turn your chest. This is our dragon twist, and you can add a step by bending the back foot, reach your right hand back to hold the foot and take dragon's tail pose. One version or the other, whichever serves you in the best way right now, to stretch into the front of your left thigh and the front of your left hip. And in either pose, let's find a back bend. Bring the skull back in space. Draw the right shoulder back in space. Open the chest. And breathe. Give your body the chance to soften into the pose. And now slowly release the pose. And let's bring both hands back to the floor on either side of the front foot. Tuck the back toes, step back to downward dog, and pump the legs, walking one leg and then the other, bending one knee and then the other. Your choice if you'd like to add a vinyasa at this point. And now we will go ahead and drop the knees and come into dragon on the second side, left leg forward. Hands on either side of the front foot as you find the angle at which you would like to soften down through your right hip and thigh. And sensing this length between the right knee and the right low ribs. And take a breath into this length. As you breathe out, soften and lengthen here even more. And now taking it into dragon twist or dragon holds its tail. We will take the left hand on top of the left knee and open the chest, open the left shoulder back. Option to bend the back knee and take it up into dragon holds its tail. Finding your pose, your version for today, and then sending your head and skull back in space. Open your left shoulder back and open the heart toward the side. And can you find a version that allows you to settle into a steady and easy breath? And now slowly release. Bring both hands back to the floor on either side of the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift up the back leg, step back into downward dog. Once again, optional to move through a vinyasa or just walk your legs out in your dog pose. Good, and now let's go ahead and drop the knees. Send the hips back toward the heels, child's pose. Rest here. Feel the rebound in the hips, the legs, the thighs, the energy moving through the front of the thighs and hips and deep through the psoas. And slowly now come up and sit to one side of the legs to bring them out in front of you. And we'll come into either half butterfly or half shoelace pose. So here's our half butterfly with the foot on the inside of the thigh, right foot to the inside of the left thigh. as we come forward over the leg, or the option is to take it a little deeper into a half shoelace, right knee on top of the left knee, and coming forward like so. Finding your variation for today, and begin to feel the effects of the pose on the back body. Noticing what you feel in the back of the thigh, the back of the torso, and into the spine. And breathing in your pose. Slowly now release and slowly change sides. Right leg forward, left foot maybe to the inner upper thigh, or maybe left knee crossing over the right knee. Settling forward and finding the stretch in the right side of the back body, opposite what we just stretched in dragon pose. Back of the thigh, the hamstrings, the back of the spine. Allow your breath to carry you more deeply into the experience of stillness. And slowly release the pose now, coming up and taking both legs out in front of you, settling onto your back for a rebound. Taking this time on the back to feel the effects of the pose, to feel your fascia rebounding back, and to feel the energy that's flowing through your joints and your muscles, your connective tissues, throughout the back body. And feel your body breathing. And now let's bend the knees and hug them in toward the chest. Wrap the fingers around the legs, interlace fingers, gently rock side to side. all the way onto one side and slowly press yourself up to sit so we can come into shoelace pose. Your alternative is to come onto your back for figure 4 pose. And for shoelace, we're taking right knee on top of the left knee. And if you're in figure 4, you're also taking right ankle on top of left knee. And as we come forward, we can have the hands in front or maybe come down onto the elbows if that's in your range of motion. With this right leg on top, we are targeting the right glutes, the right buttock and outer hip. And find a deep breath now into this part of your body. And as you exhale, can you find another level of softening into this shape? Slowly now come back up and change sides. Stay on your back and change sides if you're in figure 4 pose. If you're in shoelace, left knee comes on top of right. And settle your way forward. Take your time, easing into it. And notice how one side is different from the other. Feeling what's happening in the left glutes. And breathe here into the left buttock, left outer hip. As you exhale, can you let go a little bit more into this shape of the body? And slowly come up. And once the spine finds its upright position, let's take the legs into a cross-leg position with the other leg on top and move into some easy seated twisting. So hands to either side, lift them out to the sides and up over the head. Inhale, and as you exhale, twist to your right. Place your left hand on the outside of the knee and the right hand behind you on the floor. Gently turn your head to look behind you. With an inhale, stay here and just lift up a little more through the crown of your head. With an exhale, use your arms to twist a little more toward the right. And release and sweep the arms out to the sides as you come forward. Bring them all the way over the head. And exhale, twist to the second side. Right hand to outside of knee, left hand behind you on the floor. As you inhale, stay here and lengthen upward through the spine, through the top of the head. Exhale, use the arms, twist a little more. And unwind back to the center. And facing the heart forward, let's come into a wide-legged stance for Dragonfly pose. And your alternative pose here is to come into butterfly with the soles of the feet together. Either pose will stretch into the inner groins. And as you come forward, once again, choice to rest on the elbows or maybe have your props under your elbows, or to be up on straight arms if that's the degree at which your body feels a good stretch. And this pose is about stretching the inner thighs primarily. It's really not so much about getting your head close to the ground. So let's just find the sensation that feels right in this moment. And send your awareness inward. Draw it in to the breath and the sensations your body is feeling in this moment. Slowly now come up and slowly draw the legs in and cross the ankles so you can make your way onto your knees, sitting on the heels in Seiza. And take a rebound here with the hands folded in the lap with the eyes closed, feeling the effects of the hip stretches now that we have worked through all 4 quadrants of the thighs and hips. Noticing how your legs feel. Notice how your hips feel. Notice the energy moving in the lower body. And now opening the eyes to come into saddle pose. And your alternative for saddle is to do half saddle on either side. We're going to sit in between the feet, or if you prefer to sit on top of the feet, please do. And you might use any props you like to use for saddle on the way back. A bolster under your back or a couple of blocks under you. Making your adjustments as you settle into your version of saddle or half saddle. I will give you a halfway point when it's time to switch if you're doing one leg at a time. And wherever you are, let's find a breath to fill into the chest and exhale. And now let's draw the breath all the way down to the pelvic bowl. And exhale to soften through the pelvis, the hips, and deep into the psoas and the front of the thighs and the sacrum. Option to take the arms up over the head if you're in saddle for our second half. And if you're doing one leg at a time, this is time to switch. Staying connected to what the body is feeling and how these sensations interact with the breath. Surrendering a little bit more into the shape with each exhale. And slowly now release your pose, finding your way back up into an upright position, and make your way onto your back. Lie down with your knees bent and your feet flat, with the feet about as wide as the two edges of your mat. We'll take some wonderful windshield wiper moves after that, letting the knees drop to the right, turning the head to the left. Bring the knees up to center and over to the left. Turn the head the opposite way each time. And again, inhale up. Exhale to the right. And inhale up. And exhale over to the left. Inhale up. One more time over to the right. And back up to center, and one more time to the left. Very good. Let's bring it back up to center. And now we're going to set up for our snail pose or caterpillar. So coming to the side, unless you're comfortable coming right into your snail pose. For those not doing inversions, then here's our alternative pose. It is caterpillar over two legs, like so. And for the inversion, I'm going to use my blanket, which is optional. And the placement of the blanket is just about in the middle of your mat with the wide position of the blanket. Make sure it's about as wide as your mat. So if it's folded up too much, it will not support your shoulders enough. You can have 2 blankets or even 3, and it's amazing how much difference 1 little inch of support can make in this pose. So the tips of the shoulders come right to the edge of the blanket, and the legs come up as we support the back of the hips. And if you're not using a blanket, you may very well not need a blanket, then you are just right on the floor. And now the hands might stay at the low back, or they might extend, or they might come up over the head. And your toes may or may not contact the ground, as long as you are feeling the stretch in the upper back and the spine and all along the back length of the body, down the backs of the legs as well. As long as you're feeling this, it's not important whether the legs are touching the ground. You might enjoy wrapping your fingers around your toes or your feet. Making any final adjustments to your position, and begin to settle into the breath. Settle into the sensations of this stretch. And now very slowly roll out of the pose, finding your way onto your back for a rebound. Spread your body out on the ground and allow yourself a moment to fully absorb the sensations of this inversion. Feeling the flush or the flood of energy that comes after releasing a deep stretch. And now we'll bend the knees, hug them in toward the chest. And with the hands wrapped tightly around the legs, lift your head up towards your knees. You might even squeeze tighter, holding on to opposite elbows. And release back down. And we're going to come into a final spinal twist. First, let's touch the feet down so we can skew the hips a few centimeters to the left. Take the knees in and over to the right. Option to take it into twisted roots by crossing left knee over right, or you can keep the knees stacked evenly. We'll extend the left arm out to the left side and take the right hand onto the outside of the legs, or just spread both arms out in a T. And wiggle yourself around till you feel comfy and settled, making sure you get your upper back nicely spread out on the ground. And begin to feel what's happening in this pose. The spine being twisted, the bones of the spine being gently sheared against one another, and the discs in between these bones being gently and therapeutically stimulated to create more mobility and to attract more hydration, so that we can be more fluid in our movements, more fluid in our life. Joints free of pain. Let's breathe into this body with appreciation and exhale, settling here. Slowly release the twist. Knees back up to the center and slowly shift to the second side. Hips a few more centimeters over to the right side. Knees up and over to the left. Right arm reaches out to the right side. And let yourself wiggle around, shift around till you find your place of happiness and comfort. And feel the bones of the spine shearing against one another in the opposite direction now, placing this gentle and therapeutic pressure on the disc. And take a breath into the whole column of the spine as it twists. And breathe out. And feel your ribs softening and all the muscles and fascia between each of the ribs. Take a breath into this beautiful opening of the right side of the chest. And exhale and soften through the shoulder, through the chest. And now slowly release the twist. Bring the knees back up to center. And here we'll take the feet to a wide position and spread the arms out to either side. And inhale the breath. And as you exhale, draw the knees in toward the chest in this wide position, one hand onto each knee, and circle the knees around. Bring them both in and spread them away from you and open them out to the sides. In again and press them away. Open them out. One more time, gently pulling in, pressing away, and opening out. And now we'll draw the knees in and roll over to one side for a seated finishing of this practice. You are welcome to stay on your back in Shavasana if you would like. Otherwise, you can join me in a cross-legged seated meditation. Sitting with your spine tall, hands resting on the knees. Noticing how you feel at this point in the practice after stretching into all of the major parts of the body. Noticing any particular sense of balance, of energy distribution, of calm, relaxation, or simply a deeper connection to your life force, a deeper connection to the flow of your breath. And a deeper connection to this very moment. Sitting quietly with all that's happening inside at this very moment. And now place your palms together in front of your heart, and we'll complete our practice chanting Om 3 times. Let's begin with an inhale. And that closes today's session. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for practicing with Devi Daily Yoga. If you would like to study deeper with me, there are links to my programs down below, including my Yin Yoga teacher training. I hope to see you in the next video very soon, and until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.